back to another video on my YouTube channel and blog. So today I'm actually going to be going over a technique that I recently discovered. I love foiling, and sometimes it's hard with like your stamps to get a good foiled image without doing like a toner print or cutting out toner paper with dyes. So this is something that I discovered that will allow you to use your stamps that you already have and get a really crisp, clean, foiled image. So you're going to need a stamp set that you really like, some cardstock, some VersaMark ink, and preferably some clear embossing powder and your foil. You can use deco foil here. Um, that's what I used, and I also did one with mink foil. So I'm using the Sending All These Things stamp set from Gab with Gaby for this one, and that's a really big, sort of a delicate hand scripted sending, the big sentiment there, because I want to show you that you can get like a pretty good image with even something that has a lot of detail. So I've put my stamps on my stamping tool, and I've positioned them where I want them, and so I'm stamping them with some VersaMark ink. And I originally had a piece of white cardstock, but then I decided to do a piece of craft cardstock. So I'm going to stamp that a couple times just to make sure I've got a really crisp, clean image for my embossing powder. So I'm just going to stamp it again to make sure I've got everything, um, nice and very visible with the VersaMark. So now I'm just going to get some clear embossing powder and sprinkle that all over my sentiment. As you can see, it's still like very inked up there, very wet still. So now I'm going to tap off my excess, and then I'm just going to get my heat tool and go ahead and heat that up. And you could probably use any embossing powder here, but I just used clear because I thought it would give me the truest image for my foil. So now I'm going to just, like I said, put the excess back and get my heat tool and go ahead and heat this sentiment up. And for those of you that are familiar with embossing, you know how this works. If you're not familiar with it, you'll know that your embossing powder is ready when it starts to get shiny. So you'll have like the stamped image and kind of the little granules of embossing powder. And right there you can see as it's heating up, my image becomes very, very visible. So here's what not to do. As you can see, I've got my mink and I have put it on 4 right there, that heat setting. Do not do this. And I'm leaving this in the video because I wanted to show you what'll happen instead of me just telling you not to do it. And I also wanted to be upfront that, hey, I did this the first time and it did not work. So I let my machine heat all the way up on 4 there. Now you can see my light's green. And so I got my embossed image, and I've got my foil, and I've got my little carrier sheet, and I'm running it through there. And when this comes out, um, you'll see why you don't want to do that. So this setting is actually too high, and what happens is your embossing powder gets pressed back into your paper. So the thing about the foil is the foil reacts with heat. So of course you need heat, to make it work, but embossing powder also reacts with heat. So what I got here was a terrible, like, sort of flat, wide image, and here you'll see just how wrong it went. This is not what you want. And here I realized, like, oh, I mean, it's flat to the paper, like it's almost flush, like there's no no embossed texture or anything. Um, so as I thought about that, I realized, oh, this is because it's too hot. Okay, what I'm gonna do is, since my machine was still sort of hot, I decided to turn it back on and just run this through again. So while I'm still there contemplating my sadness, I decided, okay, I'm going to stamp this again, do the same thing with my embossing powder. Um, and this time I made 2 just in case I needed to do some trial and error here. So I just turned my machine back on, and this is probably within like 5 to maybe 7 minutes of that video that I was filming where it got flattened. So your machine will hold heat for a while. If you've noticed, I've got it on 0 because I just want my rollers to work. I don't want it to heat up anymore. And I'm putting my stamped panel back into my carrier sheet with my foil, and I'm running it through again. And what I found was you can do this by turning your machine on to a 1, letting it heat all the way up, and then just turning it off, letting it cool down for a couple minutes, and then put it back on 0 just to have it run through. And this is what you will get. You will get that clean, clear, stamped image there, um, which is what you want. And then I did another one with a gold sparkly foil that also came out really nice. So there's a side-by-side comparison of, yeah, what to do and what not to do. So there's another one with just an image with a finished card, and then the gold one with a finished card. So I hope you find this helpful, and thanks for stopping by. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.